I'm asking you the definition. Obviously, in written, you have to answer like that. The definition, what you have read through in the book. But in Viva, your external and internal will ask you like this from the keywords, actually. So you have to know the keywords mainly in the definition. So the definition is physiology is the science that seeks to explain the physical and chemical mechanisms that are responsible for origin, development, and progression of life. But the keyword is physical and chemical mechanisms. So what are the physical and chemical mechanisms? Can you say, anyone please, example of physical and chemical mechanisms?
So respiration.
Yes, respiration is physical or chemical? Which mechanisms?
Physical.
Yes, this is a physical mechanism.
Yes.
A chemical mechanism, please. Anyone, for example?
The digestion of food.
Yes, digestion of food is a chemical mechanism. Now also, in circulatory mechanisms, like blood circulatory mechanisms are also, there is also both physical and chemical mechanism in blood circulatory mechanism. Yes, anyone was saying the energy mechanism or something like that? They say
energy, ATP production.
ATP production, yes. ATP production is also a chemical mechanism that we take food and food converted into protein, carbohydrate, and fat. All those things are goal to produce ATP, that means energy. Ultimately, those produces glucose. That glucose goes to our brain. The main food of the brain is glucose. The nervous system works for glucose. The muscles work for glucose. Everything works for glucose. So if you have lost a lot of glucose in your body, you may suffer for hypoglycemia. Remember the term hypoglycemia. Whenever you listen any term like hypo means niche. That means under. Hypo means niche or under. So whenever you see the word hypo, that means it is deficient. That means that is decreasing. Hypo. Under. So hypoglycemia. Glycemia means gly means glucose and
That's in.
hello. Someone is talking.
Yes, the deficiency of glucose in body.
Yes, deficiency of glucose in the blood. But what I'm explaining is the word. You will get the explanation in the word if you know it properly. Because the word is hypoglycemia. Word has hypo, that means it is deficient or under the normal level. So it is hypo. And gly means glucose, and emia. Whenever there is emia in the last part or suffix of the word, you will think that this is in the blood. This is in the blood. So hypoglycemia, that means that there is a deficiency of glucose in blood. So mia means blood and hypo means under. Gly means glucose. So hypoglycemia, that means under deficiency of glucose in blood. So it is also a chemical mechanism. Definition and keywords should be explained. And now I would like to ask about human physiology. Who can say what is human physiology? Human physiology. Anyone, please. What is human physiology?
So, the specific characteristics and mechanism of human body that makes it a living being.
Yes, that makes a living being. But mainly it is a science, isn't it? It is a science. So everything is a science, obviously. But in case of physiology, you are discussing about viral physiology, bacterial physiology, cellular physiology. We'll discuss about cellular physiology in other parts of like anatomy. In histology, we have got cellular physiology also. In anatomy, we have got cellular physiology and anatomy also. But the thing is, viral, bacterial, cellular physiology, plant physiology. Besides that, the most important thing is human physiology that we are discussing now. The human physiology is a science of human physiology attempts to explain the specific characteristic that you are saying and mechanism of human body that make it a living being. So the key point, what is the key word? The mechanism of human body that make it a living being. What do you mean by this? Who was saying that? Who was saying the human physiology? Please pronounce your name, please.
Sharik.
Sharik Iqbal. So Sharik Iqbal, please explain me what is the meaning of this sentence, the characteristics and mechanisms of human body that make it a living being. What do you mean by that?
Sir, the different function performed by different parts of the body. Different types of movement, different types of, like sir, if we are hungry, we search for food. If we are frightened, we search for refuge, like that.
Yes, but what is the role of human physiology here? Role of human physiology. Because it is a science that explains all those roles, all those roles, isn't it? Just say that it is a science, sir. It is a science, but science to explain these mechanisms mainly, how they works, how they does their daily works or plays their roles. Those mechanisms that human physiology explains mainly.
Yes, sir.
Those mechanisms, not all mechanisms, those mechanisms who make it a living being. Can you discuss about the dead body? Can you discuss about the mechanisms of dead body in human physiology?
No, sir.
The mechanisms which makes it a living being. Only discuss about that. That is the human physiology. In where we discuss about dead body. Can you say me that? Whoever were in the previous class, attended the previous class, can say this. Can you say where we discuss about the dead body? In which subject we discuss about it? It's forensic medicine. I mentioned the name of CID. Remember?
Yes, sir.
And Dr. Shaloke. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. So, the mechanisms explained by human physiology, which mechanisms? The mechanisms which make it a living being. It means the human body. So, the mechanisms which makes the human body a living being is the human physiologist's role to explain them. Okay. Now, what is the goal of physiology? What is the automaticity of the body? Can you say what is the goal of physiology only? Say one sentence. What is the goal of physiology? Homeostasis is a part of physiology. Part of physiology. What is the goal of physiology?
So the goal of physiology is to understand the working of human body. Yes.
One.
The goal of physiology is to understand the working of a human body.
To understand the working of the human body. I said it previously very precisely that the goal of physiology is to explain. Okay. Explain the physical and chemical factors.
Physical and chemical factors
that are responsible for
for origin, development, and progression
it is
of
similar. Don't hesitate with the definition and the goal of physiology. Okay. The definition was physiology is the science that explains the physical chemical mechanisms that are responsible for origin, development, and progression of life. And the goal of physiology is to explain the physical. Similar, you're saying it similarly. Am I audible here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please respond who was saying about the goal of physiology. Okay, I have already explained the goal of physiology is as same as the definition, but the difference is definition means the explanation of these physical chemical mechanisms that are responsible for origin, development, and progression of life, and goal of physiology is to explain the same thing, the physical and chemical factors that are responsible for the origin, development, and progression of life. Am I clear here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So next one was automaticity, the automaticity of the body. Can you explain, anyone, please, what is the automaticity of the body? Someone said about the homeostasis. The automaticity of the body explains about homeostasis. Please, anyone, please respond about the automaticity of the body. What is the automaticity of the body? What do you mean by that?
The ability of a cell to repolarize
To the ability of a cell to
itself.
depolarize itself.
So
Did you
continuity
say?
of organ.
Continuity of organs. Not like that. I have already explained that the body is actually have a social order of about 100 trillion cells organized into different functional structures called tissues, organs. You are saying about the organs, tissues and organs and cells, 100 trillions of cells. All have a target. What is that? The target is to contribute to make us as a living being, to survive us as a living being. So each functional structure contributes its share to maintenance of homeostasis. Homeostasis means to maintain the nearly constant condition. I will explain it later that what is the nearly constant condition, but the homeostasis maintenance is the main role of the cells, the tissues, and the organs. So this is called automaticity. As long as the homeostasis is maintained in this internal environment, that means in our body, the cells of the body continue to live and function properly. Each cell benefits from homeostasis, and in turn, each cell contributes its share towards the maintenance of homeostasis. This reciprocal interplay, that means this interplay like each cell does, that we have to contribute, we have to make it a living being. This reciprocal interplay provides continuous automaticity of the body. If you have a bad condition, if you have a decrease in hormone, or if you have a decrease in any part of the body mechanisms, then the body responds and reacts from that, so that you can survive from this condition, from that condition. This is called automaticity. Automatically, these organs and tissues, they contribute to make it as a perfect survival. So this reciprocal interplay provides continuous automaticity of the body until one or more functional systems lose their ability. When they can't do this, only when the one or two vital systems like CVS, cardiovascular system, like respiratory system, like our kidney system, one or more vital systems lose their ability to contribute their share of function. When this happens, all the cells of the body suffer. Extreme dysfunction leads to the death, and moderate dysfunction leads to the sickness. This is automaticity mainly. Am I clear here? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you are asked by your external that what is automaticity, can you explain the automaticity? Everyone, if you are asked by your teacher or any of externals, can you explain them this automaticity of the body?
Sir, the reciprocal interplay between cells to keep us living.
When they fail,
And
when they fail,
when the vital systems lose their ability to lose their ability to contribute to the living, then we
one or more vital systems or functional systems.
okay, one or more vital systems. Okay.
Lose their ability to contribute their share. Okay. Well, like that kidney system is saying that I am unable to clear the body. Like heart saying that I'm unable to supply the blood, pumping the blood. Lungs saying I'm unable to supply the oxygen to the heart. Everybody is failing. Then it is an ICU situation. And patient goes to death. Then internal environment. What is the importance of physiology in medical science? You have to read. Can anyone say that what is the importance of physiology in medical science? Anyone, please? What is the importance of physiology in medical science? This is a written question, frequently asked on the Dhaka University. Can anyone, please? Anyone?
Sorry,
Importance of physiology in medical science.
Normal body function.
Yes, understanding of the normal body function is the third point. But first point is in your definition that physiology explains the physical and chemical factors that are responsible for the origin, development, and progression of life. And second is it is the concern with the specific characteristics and mechanisms of the human body that make it a living being. That means you have already know that the definition of physiology and the human definition of human physiology you have in first 2 points. So whenever you are asked to say the importance of physiology in medical science, you will say the definition of physiology in
Sir, I'm unable to hear what you're saying.
physiology is the basis of medicine mainly. Basis of medicine. If you want to make a career in medicine, suppose you have a patient who came to you with high fever and body ache, severe body ache, and pain in the joint for 2 days or 3 days. What is the diagnosis? What could be the reason behind this? Can you explain this? Can you guess? Anyone, please? I know you don't know, but can you guess anything?
Viral.
One said viral disease. Yes, very much common viral disease. Anyone, please, again? Anyone? Next.
Viral infection.
Viral infection. Okay. For example, give an example of viral infection, please. Like a dengue fever. Okay. Dengue fever is a viral fever. What is the mechanism of? What is the symptoms of dengue fever? If you have dengue fever, you have high fever and bone pain and severe body ache, joint pain, and you have breakbone fever. That means the patient will say that I am feeling like my bones are broken. My bones are broken. The patient will feel like that. So that is the breakbone fever, breakbone pain, or breakbone fever. So patient will feel like that. If you don't know the physiology behind this, can't explain this, because fever has lot of reasons, lot of causes. Fever has lot of causes. You are saying it because by looking some symptoms, but you don't know the similar symptom as in chikungunya. The similar kind of symptoms have in yellow fever, and he or she is very much weak, so weak that he or she cannot take any food, he or she cannot take anything to oral. She is also vomiting for several times also. So water is going out. As water is going out, with water there is sodium, potassium, bicarbonate, all these things are going out. So patient is feeling weak and patient is going to dying condition. So remember, whenever a diarrheal patient will come to you, you must correct the fluid first. Not stopping. Your target is not stopping the stool, passing of stool. Your target is to refill the body fluid. So give the ORS first. Oral dehydration saline or oral dehydration salt. Give the oral dehydration salt first. After that, if he or she can't take the oral dehydration saline or salt, then give it intravenously. Intravenously means in venous route. So you can save the patient by that. So you have to know the physiology in every part of this. Like extracellular fluid and intracellular fluid. You are losing these things. How much you are losing, you have to know. We'll learn it later. That which things are present in the extracellular fluid and in the intracellular fluid. Okay. Now, what is the positive feedback mechanism? What is the negative feedback mechanism? Can you say what is feedback mechanism? Can you say feedback? Anyone? What is feedback? Yes. When the body
has a sufficient amount of hormone, then body.
You're trying to explain about positive feedback. You're
The command to increase or decrease the output.
Kind of. But
Maintain
not
all
like
the hormone levels in the body.
maintaining all the hormone levels. Not maintaining all the hormone levels, but whenever it is necessary. Maintaining whenever it is necessary. You know, already it is called maintenance. It is called homeostasis, as it is maintaining also all these things. So maintenance of homeostasis needs to some mechanism. Maintenance of homeostasis, for maintaining of homeostasis, you need some mechanism. Those are feedback mechanism. There is positive feedback mechanism and there is negative feedback mechanism. Who can say that how many percentage of mechanisms are by negative feedback mechanism and how many percentage of mechanisms are positive feedback mechanism? 90% are negative feedback mechanism. Positive only like positive feedback mechanism, you can say pain during pregnancy. Pain is increasing and labor pain is increasing one time and again further increasing. It is not decreasing. So this is positive feedback mechanism. That is, it is increasing and increasing. Whenever another feedback mechanism like decreasing and decreasing, that is also a positive mechanism. It is decreasing, that's why it is negative, not like that. If it decreases and same thing occurs again and again, this is called positive feedback mechanism. But negative feedback is always inhibits. If it is increasing, then it inhibits, and if it is decreasing, then also it inhibits. It's decreasing. It's never like same. Okay, so that's the feedback mechanism with those the body maintains the homeostasis. So essentially all the organs and tissues of the body perform functions that help to maintain homeostasis. The human body has thousands of control systems in it to maintain the homeostasis. Most of these control systems act by negative feedback mechanism. That's why we're saying the 90%. If some factors becomes excessive or deficient, the negative feedback mechanism is initiated and returns the factor towards a certain mean value, thus maintaining the homeostasis.
Sir, can you explain the negative feedback mechanism again?
Yes, negative feedback, I am saying if some factors become excessive or deficient, then the negative feedback mechanism initiates and returns to factor towards a certain mean value. Certain mean value, that means nearly constant condition, thus maintaining the homeostasis. Am I clear? Oh,
yes, sir.
So positive feedback mechanism, negative feedback mechanism. You must have to know the examples of positive feedback mechanism and negative. Mostly the negative feedback mechanism is frequently asked in the written and also in a Viva. The definition of negative feedback mechanism, I already said that if some factors become excessive or deficient, a control system initiates negative feedback which consists of a series of changes that return the factor towards a certain mean value, that means nearly constant condition, thus maintaining homeostasis. This is called negative feedback mechanism. For example, blood pressure control system. In the arterial pressure regulating mechanism, high pressure causes a series of reactions. Like you have a high pressure. What is pressure? When the blood exerts a pressure, the blood exerts a pressure on the wall of our arteries or the circulatory pipes that are called arteries and veins. You already know arteries and veins. So artery, when the blood exerts the pressure on the arteries or vein, wall of the arteries and vein, it is called pressure. In the arterial pressure, there is noise. Please mute it. Okay. Now, in the arterial pressure regulating mechanism, a high pressure causes a series of reactions. If you have a high pressure, there is series of reactions occurs in our body that promote a lower pressure. So that is saying that please stop increasing pressure, or else the patient will die, or else the artery will be destroyed. Or low pressure causes a series of reactions. When the low pressure occurs, then series of reactions that promote an elevated pressure. In both instances, these effects are negative, with respect to the initiating stimulus. Am I clear? This example, blood pressure control system.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Regulation of plasma carbon dioxide concentration. Mainly, if you have carbon dioxide concentration more in the ECF, that means extracellular fluid, then your respiratory center are activated. Your respiratory center activated. It is saying to your respiratory center that yes, in your body there is an increase of partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So please take more ventilation. So that it increases your oxygen level and releases the carbon dioxide. If we take more ventilation, we releases the carbon dioxide more and take oxygen more, so that our oxygen balance, carbon dioxide and oxygen balance is maintaining and homeostasis is maintained. So again, if there is any decrease of carbon dioxide in ECF, it inhibits the respiratory center and decreases the pulmonary ventilation. That means our breathing. If it is in decrease in carbon dioxide, it inhibits the respiratory centers and saying that, oh please respiratory center, stop the breathing please. If you don't stop, there will be decreasement of carbon dioxide more and more, so that there will be more oxygen. You don't need any oxygen further. So please don't take any breathing. So breathing level is decreases. That's why it increasing the carbon dioxide in the air again, maintaining the homeostasis. And again, regulation like that. Yes, yes.
Sir, can you explain how the positive feedback mechanism maintains homeostasis?
Yes, positive feedback mechanism. Positive feedback mechanism is rare condition, as I said already. It is little, but some situation makes it a positive feedback mechanism. I will discuss the topic positive feedback mechanism today. But before that, I will finish this negative feedback mechanism part.
Okay.
What is gain? Can you say what is gain?
Correction by error.
Correction by error. Yes. Can you explain it more? Can you explain more?
It's used for negative feedback mechanism to express effectiveness in maintaining the constant control.
Like you have high pressure, so you have to correct it. You have high pressure, this is error, but you have to correct. How much you have to correct? That is the question. So correction divided by error is the gain. So you have to gain if you want to maintain the homeostasis. Everything is to maintain homeostasis. Okay. Describe the negative control feedback mechanism. Already we have learned components of the negative feedback mechanism. What is the components of negative feedback mechanism? Can you say? Components of negative feedback mechanism. Hey, you didn't take any screenshot yesterday. Huh? Anyone? You didn't take any screenshot?
Yeah, why could I get this access? Sir, did you share any materials before?
Yes, yesterday I shared all the.
Sir, the screenshot was not clear.
Okay, then I will send it.
Sir, can you kindly send all the material again in the group, because some of us are new in the group?
Yes, I saw today.
Okay, I will send it to Azim, and Azim will send it to you. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Azim can make the PDF also. By making PDF, he can send you. Okay. Then today we will start positive feedback mechanism. Till now we were discussing about the previous classes topic. Now it is a new topic about the positive feedback mechanism. Can you see the letters clearly?
No, sir.
No, sir, it's not clear.
Sir, it is not clear.
Now,
No, sir.
बहुत छोटा है ये.
now,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is clear.
yes. Okay. Now, positive feedback mechanism. You can see the definition. If the initiating stimulus causes more of the same, I already explained that. If it is increasing, then it is increasing. If the factor is increasing the effect, then it is increasing. Like the labor pain. A pregnant lady is feeling pain to deliver her baby. So if the limiting stimulus causes more of the same, like she is feeling pain to deliver, and the pain is increasing, your body is feeling the pain, but not decreasing by the negative feedback mechanism, because negative feedback is not activating in this type. In this case, positive feedback is activating and increasing and increasing. It is called positive feedback mechanism. And how, for example, we can see how the body, the positive feedback mechanism maintains the homeostasis or the constant condition or the survival of the body. Positive feedback mechanism sometimes causes the vicious cycle and death. This is a negative point of positive feedback. But positive feedback mechanism can be useful. First of all, we need to know the usefulness of the positive feedback mechanism. That's what who was asking. Please say your name. Who was asking that how the positive feedback mechanism maintains homeostasis?
Sir, I was asking the question. Farid.
Farhin. Okay. So Farid was asking the question. Now we have to know the usefulness of the positive mechanism. Blood clotting. I already discussed previous day that blood clotting is a positive feedback mechanism, because whenever you have a injured muscle or injured site in your body, the clotting factor comes to repair this. Clotting factor comes and stops the bleeding. But when some of the clotting factor comes, it attracts the other clotting factors also, and clotting factor comes again and again. This is also feedback mechanism. This is positive feedback mechanism. If there was any chance of coming negative feedback mechanism, your blood clot was never possible, because it is taking some of the clotting factors and informing the body that there is a need of clotting factors. The clotting factors is more in number, but when it is if it is negative feedback mechanism to activate, the negative feedback will say that, oh, there is a lot of clotting factors, so we need to stop now. That was dangerous for the body, because lot of clotting factors may come, but you need up to stopping the stop of the bleeding, up to it's stop the bleeding. So it needs to activate the positive feedback only. When a blood vessel is ruptured, as I said, whenever it's injured, clotting factors are activated, and some factors act on other inactive factors and activate them. This process continues until a clot has formed and bleeding is stopped, as I said. Then you have childbirth. Already I said, when the uterus contracts, the body's head pushes uterus. You know where the organ uterus lies? You know the position of the uterus? Everybody? Do you know the position of the uterus?
Yes,
Anyone?
sir. Abdomen.
Not in the abdomen, it's a pelvic organ. It's a pelvic organ. Yes, it is a pelvic organ. It is a pelvic organ. In a pelvic cavity, the female have uterus. So where the uterus is a organ where the baby lies, mainly the fetus.
Development of baby.
Yes, exactly. So when the uterus contracts, in case of delivery cases, the baby's head pushes through the cervix. Cervix means the end of the uterus. You will learn when you will learn the anatomy of genitalia. You will learn it. But now just remember that it's the ending part of the uterus. The ending part of the uterus is cervix. So the baby's head has to push the cervix, and stretch of the cervix sends the signals through the uterine muscles. Uterine muscle, that means the muscles forms the uterus. They send the signals. The baby pushes the head, the baby is pushing the head, and the uterine muscle got the signal that we have baby to deliver. So we have to deliver the baby. We need to contract more so that the baby can come out. So when the muscle contracts, the uterine contraction stretches the cervix, and the cervical stretch causes more of the uterine contraction. If there was any negative feedback mechanism, then the contraction may have stopped. So baby couldn't deliver, and baby could die. Sometimes baby can stop in case of any of the disease condition. In case of disease condition, sometimes the contraction may stop and baby may die. So this is a pathological condition. That is a pathological. But in case of physiological condition, that means normal condition, there is always positive feedback mechanism. Because when uterine muscle contracts, it stretches the cervix, and the cervical stretching causes more of the contraction of the uterine muscles, and this process continues until the uterine contraction becomes stronger enough for the baby to be delivered. Am I clear here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? If you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay. Then we'll go to the generation of the nerve signals. That is also by a positive mechanism, positive feedback mechanism. So 3 of the examples we have to learn. 3 of these examples. Very easy. So when generation of the nerve impulse, when a nerve fiber is stimulated by any stimulus, the slight leakage of sodium through the sodium channels into the nerve fibers. I know that is difficult to you to understand about the nerve fibers now, because you don't have any knowledge about the nerve fibers, but you will learn it later. Just remember that the nerve fiber, you already gone through in HSC level, that nerve has synapse, isn't it? Everybody
Yes.
knows that. Okay.
Yes,
Nerves have synapse. That is the connecting point between the nerves and muscles, and nerves and nerves, isn't it? Isn't it? Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So nerves have to pass signals one to another by some chemicals. That is also sodium, mainly sodium. So there is lot of sodium channels in the wall of nerve fibers. So this sodium channels activates the signals mainly. So what is saying by this example of positive feedback mechanism is generation of nerve signals when a nerve fiber is stimulated by any stimulus, like there is a pain in your hand or in your skin, any part of your skin, there is a nerve fiber to connect with your brain. So the signals, the stimulus will send to your brain. When a nerve fiber is stimulated by any stimulus, slight leakage of sodium through the sodium channel into the nerve fibers occurs. Change in the membrane potential. We'll discuss about the membrane potential later. What is membrane potential? Then this change causes opening of the more and more sodium channels. Because sodium channels, you need to pass the signals. So occurring the same event. Whenever the same event occurring again and again, this is called positive feedback mechanism. So when a nerve fiber is stimulated by any stimulus, slight leakage of sodium through the sodium channels into the nerve fibers, and change in the membrane potential, and the change occurs opening of the more and more sodium channels. So the more sodium channels, more impulse, exploration of the sodium leakage into the nerve fiber, and generation of more of the action potential. That means action potential occurs to make some of the actions. Mainly. We'll learn about the action potential and membrane potential later, inshallah. So that was the positive feedback mechanism. Am I clear here? The 3 examples of positive feedback mechanism.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Then, okay. Any question?
sir, blood sugar level rises is an example of positive feedback mechanism. Why?
Blood sugar level rises in.
Rise is an example of positive feedback mechanism.
Yes.
So why it is?
Blood sugar. If blood sugar rises, in which case blood sugar rises? Can you say? In which case? Diabetics mellitus. Diabetics.
If it is decreases of insulin,
It is decreased by insulin, but it is a normal mechanism. It is not any feedback mechanism. You can say it is a normal mechanism. Like now, whenever our blood sugar level increases, our pancreas secretes some of the insulins. Insulin comes from where? Can you say? From our pancreas, right? From Langerhans cells of the pancreas. That is called beta cells of the pancreas. Okay. So insulin comes from there, and insulin is already in our body, so it makes the glucose stable, and it is not increasing. So it balances the mainly glucose level in our body. But in case of diabetics mellitus, what happens? In case of diabetes, there is either the production of glucose is not maintained, or the insulin cannot work in our body. So defect can be in both ways. Defect in the cells that producing insulin is one of the cause, and again defect in the cells in the insulin receptor of our body may also occur inability to work of insulin. So that's why they cannot minimize the glucose level. That's why it increases the glucose level and diabetics occurs. So it is a mechanism of diabetics mainly. So positive feedback, I don't know what you are talking about why you are talking about the positive feedback mechanism in case of glucose level maintaining. Why did you get the positive feedback mechanism example as glucose maintaining? Sharin.
Actually, sir, I found this in my one of my textbook.
Okay. Okay, then I will. What they were saying in the textbook?
If blood sugar level rises, it stimulates the beta cell of the pancreas to increase the secretion of insulin. And it's the example of positive feedback mechanism.
Exactly. That's why it is a positive mechanism that they are saying. Got it. So I said the mechanism of insulin minimizes how the insulin minimizes the glucose. But whenever the body has the increased level of glucose, it is sending a signal to our pancreas that you have a rising level of glucose, so you have to secrete more of the insulin. So the more of glucose you have, the more of the insulin you have to produce in the pancreas. So it is also an event of occurring the same again and again, because if you look properly, you may say that this is a negative feedback mechanism, because it is decreasing by the signal. Not like that. It is not decreasing. It is increasing insulin. There is no connection between the signal and insulin production. Signal is coming from the body to pancreas, that pancreas, please produce more of the insulin. But there is no negative feedback to stop the glucose or to stop the insulin. There is no negative feedback here. But there is a signal to production of insulin. So this is increasing. Already we have a production mechanism of insulin. So it is occurring the same again. That's why positive feedback mechanism definition, it matches that if the initiating stimulus causes more of the same, that means insulin is increasing more, insulin is producing more, so stimulus causing more of the same, so it is called positive feedback mechanism. Am I clear here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Got it. Yes, sir. Okay, any question, please?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, like when there is a diabetic patient, sir, the glucose
Yes.
level keeps rising, but insulin production is stopped, sir. So, sir, what type of mechanism is working there?
I didn't got your question. Last one.
Sir.
Last.
Sir,
Yes.
like there is a diabetic patient, sir.
Am I audible here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what was the question? Please say it again.
Sir,
Who was questioning?
yes, sir. Sir, like in a diabetic patient, the glucose level increases, but it is not controlled by insulin. So, sir, is there any mechanism working or not, sir?
In a diabetic patient, glucose level was not increasing. Glucose level is not increasing. You are saying that?
No, sir. Sir, I am saying that, sir. In a diabetic patient, glucose level increases, sir. Yes, sir.
Increases.
Yes, sir. But it is not controlled by the production of insulin.
Exactly.
Sir, yes, sir. So, is there any mechanism working there, or sir, not?
Okay. So what I explained, I already give your answer that you must have to know the mechanism of diabetic mellitus. What occurs in diabetic? That in when the glucose level is increased or not increased, it doesn't matter. But you have your insulin level must have to work. Your insulin level must have to work. Insulin produced by the pancreas, by the Langerhans cells and beta cells of the pancreas. But two types of diabetes mellitus there is. Type 1. In type 1, the insulin production is hampered. Insulin production is hampered if there is any defect in beta cell and Langerhans cell that produces the insulin. So type 1 production is defect here. Production level is defective here. And in type 2, there is no defect in production of insulin. But insulin cannot work because of the body's insulin receptor defection. There is defect in insulin receptor. That's why it cannot work to minimize the glucose level. But in normal person, there is glucose and insulin is to minimize them. Am I clear here? Did you got your answer, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, about the diabetes mellitus in later, but this is the basic mechanism. Type 1 and type 2 diabetic mellitus. So there is no feedback mechanism working in case of this case, but as previously Sharin said that feedback mechanism working for diabetics in case of when the signal is to your glucose level is increasing. This signal is to the pancreas that the body's glucose level is increasing. So please increase the insulin level also. So insulin level is increasing and increasing. So more of the same. And as the definition is more of the same in case of feedback mechanism. So that's why it is a positive feedback mechanism. That's what the textbook of Sharin saying. So again, the difference between the negative feedback mechanism and positive feedback mechanism already know. Definition: the deviation from a given normal set point are detected by a sensor, and signals from a sensor trigger compensatory changes. So we need to correct it. So that's why the signals comes, and that continues until the set point is again reached. The set point means the nearly constant condition that I was saying. This is called negative feedback, already know. And positive feedback, if the initiating stimulus causes more of the same, it is called positive feedback mechanism. And role in homeostasis, both have a role in negative feedback and positive feedback. But in case of negative feedback, most control system of the body act by this mechanism to maintain homeostasis, and it can sometimes be useful. Positive feedback mechanism. And causation of vicious cycle. This is important, vicious cycle. I will go back to the question again. Why positive feedback mechanism have some vicious cycle also. Vicious cycle means, can you say what do you mean by vicious cycle? Anyone? Okay?
Repeating the same cycle.
Repeating the same cycle, not in the vicious cycle. Repeating a same cycle is a feedback mechanism, that is positive feedback mechanism. But vicious cycle means that may be dangerous for the body. Vicious cycle means that is dangerous for the body, and it may cause death. So positive feedback mechanism sometimes causes vicious cycles and death. How? Positive feedback mechanism doesn't lead to stability, but to instability. Again, negative feedback mechanism has some point to make it stable. Because negative feedback mechanism always says that please stop, there is increasing number, so please stop. If there is decreasing number, please increase. So there is a clear-cut instruction from the negative feedback mechanism. But in case of positive feedback mechanism, is always more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. So there is no clear instruction to stable, to stop, or anything. So it sometimes make a vicious cycle that causes death. Like positive feedback mechanism doesn't lead to stability but to instability and often death. For example, if a person suddenly bleed 2 liters of blood, like for a road traffic accident case, a person suddenly bleeds 2 liters of blood, and it decreases the cardiac pump, because when you have a little blood, suddenly bleeds 2 liters of blood. So your heart is decreasing its pumping. Decreasing means lower arrow. So decreasing the cardiac pumping. That decreases, if you have a decreased cardiac pumping, it decreases the blood pressure. What is blood pressure? I said previously. Can you say what is blood pressure? Anyone?
Pressure exerted by the blood on the vessels, artery.
On the wall of the vessels or artery. Okay? On the wall of the vessels. Because the vessels is a pipe. It's a pipe. And the blood is exerted pressure on this lumen of the pipe. This lumen of the pipe. This lumen of the pipe. If blood have pressure on this pipe, like this, then it is blood pressure. This is called blood pressure. So when you have a less blood coming from the heart, as heart is not pumping properly, so the pressure is decreasing, and decreasement of the blood flow to the heart muscle also, because the heart needs itself some blood. So blood flow to the heart is also decreased, and heart becomes weak. Heart becomes more weak because blood is the main food. Blood is the main thing to work. If you don't get any blood to any of the cells, In case of any of the cells, it will not work. It will damage. It will be dead. So further decreases the cardiac pump again, and it further decreases the blood pressure, and further decreases in blood flow to the heart, and heart becomes more weak. This cycle repeats and death occurs. Am I clear here?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt in case of bleeding positive feedback mechanism? That's why positive feedback mechanism is dangerous in case of road traffic accident. Bleeding occurs more than 2 liters. So whenever it is a high level of bleeding case, you must have to repair the body fluid. You must have to repair the blood level. If you have blood, then transfuse the blood as soon as possible. Otherwise, if you don't have the blood immediately, you have to replace by the saline, normal saline. The body fluid must be repaired so that the
Sir,
heart doesn't get weaker.
Sir, is there any case where the positive feedback mechanism and the negative feedback mechanism will work simultaneously, like they will work together?
They'll work together.
Will it be possible? Like the positive feedback mechanism and the negative feedback mechanism working together?
No, there is a little case, but
Sir, is it
I will inform later that if there is any continuous case. But
Okay.
you must remember that there is 90% of the cases in case of negative feedback mechanism and 10% of the cases positive feedback mechanism. Okay.
Okay.
Simultaneously occurring is impossible because if you stop something, it will not be a definition of positive feedback because you need to more of the cell in case of positive.
Yes.
But whenever a negative feedback mechanism is already done, it's working, then you can initiate a positive feedback mechanism. Okay, this case may occur, but it cannot work simultaneously.
Okay, sir.
Now, the control systems of the body, the cardiovascular system, the digestive system, endocrine, integumentary system, that is skin components, nervous system has the components of brain, spinal cord, peripheral nerve, reproductive system has gonads, penis, vagina, and uterus, and respiratory system has the components of lungs, and urinary system has kidneys and bladder. All these systems, vital system, cardiovascular system has the heart, blood vessels, and blood. So major function we have to read. I will transfer this picture, or you can take the screenshot also from this, so that you can answer me later in the next class. The control systems of the body. We have the adaptive control. What is adaptive control? The question for the Viva. What is adaptive control? It is a control method in which one or more parameters are sensed and used to vary the feedback control signals in order to satisfy the performance criteria. As I said, to maintain homeostasis, you have to send a signal to the parameters, like you have increased level of glucose or increased level of pressure. You have to send a signal. Before that, you have to sense the signal. So this is the adaptive control system, because body gets adaptation with the system. Some people, for example, some people have a high blood pressure always. They feel high blood pressure, but they always don't get a heart attack. Always don't get a heart attack because the body gets its adaptation with that. The nervous system uses adaptive control system for control of appropriate movement of the body. Adaptive control is, in a sense, a delayed negative feedback mechanism. Delayed negative feedback mechanism. Okay. Cell and its function. We'll talk about cell and its function in the next class, inshallah. But today, this is, I think, that's all. Negative feedback mechanism and positive feedback mechanism. Very, very important topics we have learned in these two classes. Hopefully, you will go through these classes and learn properly, because I will ask you in the next class what I already taught. I will send the PDF. I will send the pictures, and Azim will make the PDF with those pictures, and you will go through those, and I will ask them in the next week, inshallah. Azim.
Yes, sir.
Are you here?
Yes, sir.